What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here at GSD Studios. First off, I want to thank you for watching the show. I truly appreciate your support. I know it's annoying, but please listen to the entire intro before the podcast begins, as I really need your help. So before we jump in, just a few quick favors, you guys. Number one, please share the show with anyone you feel that will benefit. This truly helps grow the show and has a massive impact on many lives. So please go out there, share the show. Sharing is caring, right? Number two, if you have not already, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please leave a 5-star review on iTunes and in Stitcher, again, if you have not done so already. Number three, make sure that you join the private GSD Mode Facebook Mastermind group. If you go to www.gsdmode.com, you'll see a link, a button right there on the home page that you can click and request to be added to that group right away. And lastly, I want to give our sponsors a quick shout out that make this show entirely possible. Our first sponsor is my personal 90-day mastery bootcamp. This is my personal mentorship training program where I give you everything that I do inside my business. You get my entire playbook, you guys. We have 12 live 3+ hour long sessions. Each session we go so in depth on exactly what I do inside my real estate team and how I operate my business. Plus, there's a lot of different bonus sessions. You get access to everything I do inside my business, on my tracking forms, presentations, checklists, lead generation tactics, lead follow-up tactics, team contracts, and much more. There's absolutely nothing that I withhold from you that you don't get access to. Plus, you get daily access to me inside the group. So this is hands down the most effective and affordable real estate training program on the planet. Check us out, www.90daymastery.com, or click the link below to learn more about that. If you do join, make sure to plug in promo code Live Mastery. That's all caps, all one word, all together, which will save you $500. Make the whole entire program only $997, or 3 payments of $333. Our next sponsor number 2, is perfectstormnow.com. This is an insanely effective lead generation website for realtors, and now offers not just the front end website, but a website and CRM combo with all my personal written follow-up drips and scripts. And some of these, you guys, go out 1,000+ days. We made it where it's 100% dummy proof. And this system, you guys, competes with $1,000+ month systems that exist in the industry, and it's only $199 per month. So make sure to check us out, www.perfectstormnow.com, where you can check out in-depth demos, client testimonials, more info, all that fun stuff. Our third sponsor is EMF. I'm really excited about this one. This is Optimized Life Nutrition's newest supplement, newest nootropic. It's by far the most powerful nootropic on the planet. EMF stands for Energy, Memory, Focus. If you're like me and you want to have insane energy, improved memory, extreme, intense, focused, this is the best product, you guys, that money can buy. I take it every single day, and the results are insane. Improved energy, improved focus, improved mood, awareness, and we've even had many clients tell us improved sex, dude. So it's just this crazy, insane, overall life-enhancing product. So check that out at www.optimizedlifenutrition.com. Lastly, if you want to be like me and the crew here at GSD Studios, kicking ass every single day, highly recommend that you rock your GSD gear here on the website, www.gsdmode.com. Snag your shirts. We have women's shirts, men's shirts. I got some hats, and we got a lot more apparel on the way. So that's all I got for you guys. Hope you enjoy the show, and we will talk to you soon. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode interview, where every single week we interview top entrepreneurs, top realtors, and just straight up top badasses out there dominant in their space. These are people choosing to not live life in mediocrity, but instead to go out there and create amazing, big, epic lives for themselves and their family, as well as have a big impact on others' lives while they're here on this planet. So today, you guys, got an amazing guest on the show. So this is a top real estate agent, also real estate investor, author, educator. So a dude that's got a lot going on. So really stoked and honored to have Hendon on the show. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me, Doctor. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. We were just kind of talking here before we introed about your marketplace. I'm really excited to get to that, because I mean, I know that things are happening in Seattle that I don't think most people have experienced. And
those, it sounds like a really strong, appreciating market would be fun to work in, but they're typically by far the most challenging to grow your real estate business, right? So we're really excited to hear what you're doing there. But before we jump into that, man, I'm always intrigued on our guest journeys that really led them to entrepreneurship in the first place. So if you rewind those clocks, maybe that's, junior high, high school, college, like what led you into entrepreneurship and into real estate in the first place?
It's, I was thinking a lot about it. I had an opportunity to visit with my dad. He's 90. And we went down and visited them in Florida just recently, and I interviewed him. And just to get this, he's 90, right? Way less time in front of him than behind him. So I wanted to get his deal. And I remember growing up, he gave up a business in, he was a sales VP for a clothing manufacturer and gave it up to start his own endeavor, his own photography. He loved photography and wanted to do that. And literally walked out of a corporate job to start his own business. He already had 4 kids by that time. And so that's some cojones. That's like, a big deal. And, I remember it as a kid, but it wasn't a big deal as a kid. It was just what dad was doing. But now as a dad myself and looking back at it, what he must have, the challenge that must have been and the fear. And he wound up being very, very, very successful, put us all through college, lent me money to start a business when I needed it. I mean, just been massively, massively successful on his own. But I think, at the heart of it, we always had in our future, if you want something, you can go build it. You don't have to work for someone. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to work for someone. You can do what you want it, go build it. And he's always been that way. And the family's always been that way. And so I think it was sort of, I don't think destiny is the right word, but there was a clearing for sure in my family to make that happen. And I think that's probably the biggest piece of it. And then I got more, I can keep going. I can tell you the steps, but that was like the context of it was family, entrepreneurship. That's the way you do it.
Yeah. So I find that, a lot of entrepreneurs, that they had entrepreneur parents, their parents, maybe not try to plant a limiting belief about not getting entrepreneurship, but we're kind of, because they know those challenges. I know that your dad was saying, hey, you can do anything that you want, but did he kind of try to steer you more towards getting the security compared to entrepreneurship, or was he, more pro entrepreneurship?
You know what? I think he wanted to steer me away from what I was. Mostly my youth was spent a communication to dad, like, don't tell me what to do. So I think he was trying to steer me into something productive for the most part. But at the time, it didn't seem that way. He never really, he worries. So there was a steering into something secure, but he always had it like, you could build a business. So I think we got steered in doing what we love to do. And, that sign behind you says everything, work harder. That's the name of the game. You want it, work harder, you can get it.
Yeah. Love it, man. So you got that, amazing dad, amazing mentor, that kind of guided that start. Then from there though, like what then leads you into real estate from that point?
Sure. Let's see. So I did a bunch of different things. I went to art school, and having a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree makes you eligible to work in food service anywhere in the country, So I got a job waiting tables right out of art school. And I moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico from New York. And one day at the restaurant, the baker quit. So I thought I'd go try baking. That's good. And I could bake. That was good. So then I raised money and started a bakery. And I had a bakery for 9 years and 40 employees. And it was a thing, man. Albuquerque, New Mexico was selling bagels to New Mexicans. It was really great. And eventually sold that business and went to work for a company called Landmark Education at the time. Now it's a different company. And I worked for them because I had a business coach, and he recommended that I do this thing called the Landmark Forum. And that thing blew my mind, man. It was the most empowering weekend I'd ever spent. Wound up a couple of years later selling my business, going to work for them, did that for a while. So now I have this entrepreneurial thing, and I have this real personal transformational bent, like this educational bent and an entrepreneurial bent. And had 2 kids now, working for Landmark, and wasn't really the way to go for me anymore. So I completed that and took a couple of different sales jobs. And at one of those sales jobs, I was selling credit repair services. and got tired of dialing the leads they gave me, and thought entrepreneurially, all right, well, who has credit? Who needs credit help? Who has people that need credit help? And I thought, oh, I'll call all my realtor friends. They all know people that need credit repaired. I'll call them. And at the time, I was doing 100 dials a day by hand. And every one of them said, dude, if you're doing 100 times a day, you should be in real estate, because if you have that skill set called dial, smile, and dial, you will kill it in real estate. And eventually I listened. And my only regret is I didn't listen soon enough. You know, I didn't listen sooner, because had I taken that advice right away, I'd have 2-3 more years under my belt. And, but that was it. So I love educating people. I love empowering people and doing what they, you know, what they're committed to, but they may not be able to see a way to have it. And I love entrepreneurial endeavors, and real estate is like the easiest freaking business to start. I mean, it's the lowest bar to entry. It's the lowest startup costs. The model is tested. You're not reinventing a wheel. It's, you know, you do what there is to do, and it works. Everyone has real estate in their future. You're not selling some widget, you know, you're not, it's just like and you can do anything. You can do expired, you can do door knocking, you can do FSBOs, you can do, you just like a million, if you have an expression, you can do it. You can make it work in real estate. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And it pays well. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, love it, man. So, so I mean, is that what brought you up to Seattle? Was it the sales job, or did you start your real estate business? I mean, did you stay in New Mexico? I mean, how did this?
Yeah, I was in New Mexico, and then I sold my business to work for the company called Landmark, and I moved to Phoenix, and then I moved from Phoenix with Landmark up to Seattle, and I wound up in Seattle. And Seattle was both enough like New York to keep me happy, and yet far enough away from New York to keep me happy. So it really worked out well.
Yeah, love it, man. So you jump into real estate, right? And the statistic is like 90% of realtors failed in the first 3 years, you know, right? Yeah. And, I know you talked about smiling and dialing, but I find a lot of times too, people that they'll do those fundamentals when they have a job because they're forced to. Then they jump into real estate. There's no accountability, and they stop doing those things. Like, what did you do your first couple of years to ensure that you weren't a statistic? Like, how did you hit the ground?
Well, I think I joined a team. I mean, with Keller Williams, and the model with teams is brilliant. I think, I cannot see how I can't see actually with integrity how you could try and start real estate on your own. I mean, you're about to take $1 million property or someone's life savings, and you're going to buy them a house, and yet you have no idea what you're doing, and you've studied for 2 weeks to get your license. I mean, it's the lowest bar to entry. It's the guy that cuts my hair, and look at how little hair I have. The guy that cuts my hair has 1,000 hours of training, 1,000 to cut hair, 90 to sell real estate. That's a low bar to entry. So it just didn't, I couldn't do it for myself. I couldn't say to someone with a straight face, hey, I want to help you buy a house, without having a team, without having be part of something where someone knew what I was doing. They could watch me in a mentorship program and an apprenticeship program. And I think real estate, one of the reasons why it has such a bad reputation with people is because we don't do enough as an industry to assure we're trustworthy. And one of those things is we'll let anyone who studies for 2 weeks sell a house. I think it's crazy. So I joined a team, and that was like the number one thing I did to make sure that I was successful. And then I did what my team leader told me to do. I was like, all right, you tell me what to do and I'll go do it. And then I did it. And then, 90% of everything fails because, again, the sign in your back. It's funny how you said that, Josh. I thought it was really funny. It's like they smile and down when they have to because they have a job. But as soon as there's no accountability, they don't. But the truth is, in reality, it's the other way around, isn't it? Like when they have a job, they don't really have to smile and dial. If you're not going to get paid, you damn well better smile and dial.
Yeah.
So that's really when you have to, is when there's no one, you got no safety net as a realtor. You're not, you eat what you kill, you have to smile and dial or whatever door knock or whatever you're going to do to get business. You have to do that. So I did whatever my team leader told me to do.
So for those that maybe in their marketplace, there's just, teams are becoming, more and more popular. There's a lot of leaders out there, but Maybe somebody's in the area where there's no great teams to join.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, for example, maybe they got a great broker that can help them with the contractual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But can you kind of walk us through maybe a few of those things that your team leader was doing or telling you to do?
Sure.
Right? But you still had to put in the massive amount of work, right?
Oh.
So what are some of those things that you were doing to create that initial success?
Yeah, well, if you don't have a team leader or something, you definitely have access to YouTube. You definitely have access to the books, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I don't know how that's not. It's a bestseller for a reason. It's the blueprint. And I think you got to take the view, if you're really going to win, you got to take the view that you're starting a business. And you got to do the due diligence and make a pro forma and, like you're starting a business. And the great thing about Millionaire Real Estate Agent is it gets it down to, okay, if I do this many dials, I'll have this many results. So some of the things so if you don't have a team leader, you're not part of a team, you have a great broker, you certainly have access to Mike Ferry videos, you have access to the other great podcasts that are out there, and great Facebook pages where you can get accountability partners and, lots of ways you could get yourself held to account for producing a result, for doing the work. And then is your question like, what's the specific work that
you did? I mean, like, did he tell you, hey man, start hitting for sell bounce, start hitting expires, start doing open houses?
Yeah. It's a she, but nonetheless, So she, there's 4 things that make you successful in real estate. That's lead generation. And everyone on our team lead generates every day. So lead generation is on the phone, calling, strangers, circle prospect, expired if it's about something, or calling your database. Hey, how are you? What are you doing? Right? Hey man, I'm building my book of business for 2017. Who do you know? Right? Like that, like you're actually prospecting, calling out. And I could tell you 90% of the agents those agents that fail, because I do circle prospecting, and I'll call and I'll sometimes pick up, the person who picks up is an agent. And I'll say, oh man, sorry man, just circle prospecting. And I swear to you, they say to me, what's that?
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding? Really? It's called working. I'm working. So, you phone and circle prospecting is not messing around on Facebook. Circle prospecting is not sending emails. I mean, lead generation is not on Facebook. Lead generation is not sending emails. But you could also, so that's one thing you could do. You do that 2-3 hours every day. Then there's practice, script practice. Anytime you're going to talk, the greats of the greats of the greats of the greats practice. John Coltrane, 8 hours a day. Scales, 8 hours a day. The most gifted people at whatever they do, it's practice. Michael Phelps, certainly a physical freak, but every day since he was 5, he's been up at 4 a.m. and in the pool, and none of that was like, oh yay, I can't wait to get in the pool. It wasn't, whether you like it or not, you practice, man. You practice, right? Allen Iverson, practice. So lead gen, practice, open houses. I mean, my God, come on, man. You're gonna sit someplace for 3 hours, and there are people that want the product you're offering and walk through the door. Come on, man. That's like, what kind of business model? That's awesome. You could do that. You do that 3 days a week if you have to, right? And I've listened to your podcast, and people talk about the different ways. And if you want to know how to open house, you got this great thing called YouTube, and find some way to open house. So you got open houses, lead gen, script practice, and then lead follow-up. And that's making sure there's no point in doing lead gen if you're not doing lead follow-up. So lead follow-up is all those people that wanted a CMA, or they wanted, they're not going to buy for 6 months. Good. I always tell people, no problem. I plan on being in business in 6 months. I will call you then. Easy peasy. And I put them down in my CRM, and, whatever CRM, the best CRM to use is whichever one you're going to use. Doesn't matter it doesn't matter at all. Don't get hung up on the toys of real estate. The easiest way to make $1 million in real estate is sell a toy to a realtor. Because those 90% that fail, they all want the next shiny object that's going to help them do it. I can't tell you how many ads are on my Facebook feed for the answer to more leads. Oh my God, does everyone have a product to sell? I don't know anyone. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So stay away from those. Just those 4 things. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. Door knock, anything. Anyone can do it.
Yep. Love it, man. Love it. So are you still on that team today, or still a
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of the team? Okay.
Yep.
Cool. All right, man. So then too, okay, so you're going out there and you're creating some success. And I know when I was looking at your bio with topics, a lot of, it seems like a lot of things that you do really brilliant at is educating the consumer on
Hmm.
how to pick the right realtor, the right
Yeah.
question to ask, and why some things truly matter and some things don't matter. But if we were to reverse that, because
Hmm.
the consumer necessarily isn't watching this podcast, but realtors are,
Hmm.
right? But they don't know those right questions. Like they don't
Hmm.
really necessarily know, hey, how do I design my listing presentation to
Hmm.
go out there and truly show my value,
Hmm.
right? And go out there and deliver those services. So can you walk us through, some of the education that you do to the consumer, and then from a realtor standpoint, how some of our listeners can take that and go improve their value that they're bringing to their customers?
Yeah, totally, man. Easy. Thanks. It's a great question, and I don't normally think about it from that side because uh, my whole sort of organizational orientation, I guess, is toward educating people. And uh, but the thrust of it is, as a realtor, make yourself valuable. Provide value. Be someone so that don't be. You want to be top of mind because you were so valuable to them. I mean, not only do you get to take advantage of the mental cognitive biases of availability, meaning people will choose the person who's top of mind. So, if you door knock in a particular condo and you do that regularly, or you flyer and you postcard and you circle, you do all that stuff, you'll be top of mind, right? Open houses, all the signs, that's all to get top of mind. But you can also be top of mind because you've provided value, in which case you also kick in the law of reciprocity, which is not some woo-woo, yay thing, right? It's actually a real deal. If someone does something for you, you naturally feel obligated to do something. So provide value for people. And one of the ways I do that is I educate people about the kinds of questions that they could ask. But from the realtor perspective, you just want to find out, what's your thing, man? What's your magic? What's your superpower? What kind of value do you add to relationships that nobody else adds, that nobody else has, that if you added it to every relationship and you didn't ask for anything back in return for it, it was really just, there's a great book, I'm sure you know it, but The Go-Givers. And it's, I think, a 2-book series now or something, but it's fabulous in terms of orienting toward just start giving your value, So the one thing, for example, that we focus on in our business, which anyone could focus on, is how much over asking price do we deliver? How many days on market under average, and how much over asking price do we do compared to the market average? So, for example, and this is something I say in my listing presentations, and it sort of blows people's minds because they never think about it. And then after I say it, they're like, oh yeah, that's right. So now I've added some value, I've educated them. So what you can say is this, on this podcast for sure, and every other real estate podcast, and every time a realtor talks about business, you say, tell me about your business. And they say how many units they sold, and they say how much volume that was. And those are great numbers to know if you're the realtor. But you, Mr. Consumer, what do you really care how many houses? I mean, I got to sell enough that I know what I'm doing, but if I sold 50 or 200, is that meaningful to you? What's meaningful to you, I suspect, Mr. Seller, is how much you get in your pocket at the end of the transaction. Isn't that right? So you do a tie down, you let them know, listen, don't you really care how much money you put in your pocket? Sure I do. Okay, good, great. Well, let me tell you, in this market, average realtors have sold for 103.5% over the last 12 months. And our listing sold for 105.1. And average houses sold in 42 days in this last 12 months, and ours sold in 26 days. So that's an extra 1.5% and half the time. You do want to sell your house for the most money in the least time, don't you? Tie down, sure I do. And then I slide across the table. Here's our last 12 months worth of listings. Has any of the other realtors that come in here shown you their last 12 months worth of listings? No, they haven't. I wonder why that is. Maybe they don't know how much over asking price. Maybe they're not interested in the numbers that matter to you. And then you just leave it there. I mean, what are they going to say, right? But that's a value. And you'd have to start tracking how much over asking price you'd have to deliver. You got to be one of those guys that's interested in actually delivering value. And when we work with buyers, it's the same thing. Buyers have been paying 103.5% in this market, and we've been selling them houses that we get for our clients pay 100%, 3.5% less than average. You do want to pay less than average, don't you? Pick up every buyer in the world that way. So, but that's that's an educational thing. That's caring about a number that they care about. It's being different than everybody else. And anyone can do that. Anyone could discover that. You certainly could pull your own numbers. I mean, you could find your own numbers on the MLS. And I frankly think, you should.
Yeah. Love it, man. Love it. Yeah. I mean, it's just in my experience and it sounds like your experience has been the same, but it's like objections are just a lack of education.
Totally.
If you just learn how to educate them correctly, and then, and of course in these hot markets, we always see this, and then they kind of seem to go away after the hot markets or, when the market corrections happens, but all these discount brokers, right? But I mean, people will pay for that value. Like you show them, hey, if I'm going to get you 2% more than everybody else is going to get you, why do you care about paying me this when the on game goal is getting as much in your pocket?
And I'm going to do it in half the time of those guys. And let's look up, tell you what, I'll come back tomorrow. I'll tell you how much that agent, who's the agent that just asked you for that? Great. I'll pull their stats. And if their stats are better than my stats, fine. You should definitely hire them. But if my stats are better than their stats, are you ready to go with me tomorrow? I'll pull their stats right in front of them. I'll say, or if I can get my competition is before the listing appointment, I'll pull their stats and show up with them. And look, you do that, you got to be willing to give it up. If the other person's better than you, then you know what? You found someone who's actually Now, here's another thing I offer that they don't. Blah, 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 blah. Right? I don't know. Do they offer staging? Da, 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 da. But here, so you got to be authentic. You can't, I'm not in it for the sale. I'm in it for the relationship. I want to make sure that person wins. And if they win and if they hire someone else and it's a better fit for them, then God bless them. They should hire that person. I don't need I don't need every single beat of business in Seattle. Although every time I see a sign, I think, oh, I should have that. Oh, I can't believe it. Who are these people? Oh, they're not as good as me. I think that all the time. But I know in reality, I don't,
Keeps you driven, man. Love it. So then the next question is, and we'll kind of break these up, but for sellers, and then we'll kind of go into buyers of how you're doing that. It's like a lot of people sit there and say, okay, well, what sells a house is price, photos, MLS. Like how do you get, especially in a market like yours, man, that's just gnarly right now. What are some of the things that you're doing to get that much more so then people can have those true stats to then add value to them?
Yeah, people do ask that all the time. They say, okay, well, how do you do that? Okay. So, and this sounds funny and it really is sort of weird, but the number one thing we do to get that is we measure it. That's why no one else is walking in to tell you what they do, because they don't measure it. And, in your business and in any business, you get what you inspect, not what you expect. And we measure our performance that way, which is why if you ask another realtor how's business, they don't say we get people, the last 12 months, we've been getting people over average. They say 32 units or whatever, right? Because they're not measuring it. So they don't have anything to say about it. So really one thing is we measure it. So that also means because we measure it, because it's important to us, we don't take overpriced listings. Listen, Mrs. Seller, if you really are committed that you're going to sell your house for that much money, I'm sorry, we're not the people for you. You could find someone who's going to tell you they're going to sell it for that. I promise you. And 3 weeks later, when it doesn't sell for that, they're going to come back to you and they're going to ask for a price reduction. And then your house is going to be 3 weeks on the market. So here's the evidence that we have, because I'm a consultant. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just showing you what the market has said. So we don't take overpriced listings. Okay. I just don't. If someone's not going to go with evidence, we don't take it. So that's one way. So we don't wind up ever selling under asking price because we didn't overprice it in the first place. Second thing is we do all the marketing and prospecting that there is to do. We door knock 100 houses around every listing. We invite the neighbors to the open house. We throw a letter out there to every neighbor that's written by the seller saying, we're moving. Do you know anyone who wants to live in the neighborhood? That's a double-edged advantage to us because one, it has a chance to bring in a buyer. Second, it gets our name over 100 new people, right? Big. And I tell the sellers that has an advantage to us. I'm not hiding it. I'm not like pretending it doesn't advantage, So we door knock, we phone call. We have the 7-level open houses, the big old open houses, like the big ass, 20 signs, the big open houses. The Keller Williams model also includes the international MLS, which in Seattle happens to be a big deal because you get a lot of Chinese money. So that's an advantage. We Facebook target advertise. We do video advertising. And what else? And then we negotiate. I forgot. We actually negotiate. You have no idea. It's unbelievable to me. This is the most shocking thing that ever happens to me. And it makes me absolutely insane. And I know that there's zero chance that the seller in these scenarios ever interviewed their agent. Could not have possibly interviewed them well, because they'll do something like they'll take my offer from my buyer. And then after I submit my offer, they'll call me and say, sorry, you didn't win the bid. They'll never call me back to say, hey, you know what? You've been outbid. You're not the highest offer. Would you like to adjust your offer? Are you kidding me? How is that a service to your client? Not only does it disservice to my client by not giving him a chance to raise his price, forget about that. You have a fiduciary interest to your client, the seller. You didn't even come back to me to ask me to raise my price. 50%, at least 50% of the houses I buy, they don't come back to me and ask me to raise my price. You got to be kidding me. It's unbelievable. Why? Because Americans don't like to negotiate. And this guy on the other end of the table has had 2 weeks of training, and he slapped the license. And maybe he's been doing it because, for 3 years, 5 years, I don't know what he's been doing, but he's not interested in getting the most money. He can't be. It's craziness. It's just craziness. So those are some of the things we do. We negotiate. I know it's wacky. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it always, it just is what it is, I guess, with some agents. But, I'm calling on the buy side, and I'm like, hey, I know you got multiple offers. Where do we need to be to make this happen? Like, what do we got to do? The seller's excited about our offer. Oh, I can't disclose that. I'm like, well, if you can get your buyer an extra $5,000, or you're split an extra $5,000 right now, why
would you not?
You can have the conversation with your seller that you can't disclose it. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. It's literally it's an awkward position. Negotiating is awkward. You have to be a badass, and you have to say, sorry, you're not the highest. I know it's upsetting, but you're not. Can you come up any? You got to be, but hey man, you're getting a lot of money. You're getting paid a lot of money as a realtor to have that one simple phone call. Work it out, man. Call that buyer and have them come up in price. I absolutely cannot. But if you want to know the things we do, that's what we do. We don't overprice, and we price a little bit under so that we can create a bidding war. We do it intentionally. If we think the house is worth $450 or $550, if the house is worth $550, and it depends the neighborhood, and we check all the comps. We have 2 or 3 of our team, where we brain trust all the time. That's the other great thing about having a team, is that I don't have to think of everything myself. And I don't have to trust my own thinking on every single thing. And I don't have to pretend to my sellers or my buyers that I'm supposed to know all the answers. What a relief that is, Because if something comes up, I'm like, hey man, I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to bring it to my team. And then we get on the phone and we brainstorm it, and we're like, oh yeah, that's so brilliant. Something comes up that I wasn't going to think of, or a way to phrase it to this buyer it's just awesome. So that's some of the stuff we do.
Love it, man. At one point earlier in the podcast, you mentioned something about staging. Is that something that you guys do too, or believe in, or is that kind of like a very specific situation that you do that?
Yeah. Well, staging generally works. Okay. I mean, as a rule, but it just depends. It depends the price point. It depends the house. If it's a investor buyer, we don't need it. There's this totally cool program now, or a service called Box Brownie. I don't know if you ever heard of these guys, but it's boxbrownie.com, and they do virtual staging. So you take your photos, you send it to them, and a week later they put in furniture in the pictures. So the MLS looks sharp, way sharper than anything you were going to do. Okay. I mean, it looks awesome. And then the house is actually empty. You know, it's not actually staged. So you go to Kinko's and you blow it up big. You get a big poster of it. You put it on the wall and you let people know this is what it could look like. But now they're in the house. So I don't, you know, they're fine. I don't need it staged for then. So even if staging is not appropriate or not needed, or you don't need a lot of it, you know, or you don't have a lot of it and you don't want to spend $1,500, or the seller doesn't want to spend $1,500, a couple $100 is this box brownie thing, and it's fabulous. So we talk to the seller, and we have a price model that if the house is under a certain, so if the house is like 500 or less, we put in, I think we have a budget of about $500 or $600, which would include cleaning, staging. We have some staging stuff ourselves, photos, landscaping. And if we can get that done for a $500K or less house, then we're at our expense. It's a you know, benefit of working with us. And if the house is over $500K, we have $1,000 to spend on doing it. And, you know, we'll work it out that way. And if it's over $1 million, then we'll pretty much do whatever, right? We're good.
And the realtors that may hear that may think about, man, isn't that so risky because you don't get that money back? Well, remember, you're not taking overpriced listings. Like, you know that these are a guaranteed sale, you know?
We've never had a listing expire. I don't even know what that means, to not guarantee it. Why would you take the listing if you weren't going to sell it?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, what would happen then? Do you have kind of a fall safe in there if the seller going through this process, you know, maybe they're getting ready to relocate and their job offer falls through and they're like, hey, this fell through, now we're going to cancel. I mean, do you
we'll just
take
eat
a
it.
risk on it, or?
Yeah, we're in it for the relationship. Can you imagine we do that and we eat it and they stay in Seattle? How many people do they tell about us?
Yeah.
How many people do that's like a no-brainer. What, I spent $500 to have a happy human being? What am I going to do? Charge them $500? Oh yeah, that's a great look.
Yeah.
No, I don't need to do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. Okay, so then on the flip side, you know, right? Because especially, dude, you know, when you're talking about negotiating on average for 100% of you know, the buy price, I don't think most that aren't in Seattle know what it's like up there.
Yeah.
I've had a few of my personal clients and friends that are realtors, and I don't know if I've ever seen a competitive market that insane right now.
It's insane. It's so it's insane. It's not, there's like virtual, you know, I would hate to be, I actually am a buyer in this market. You know, I'm looking for a house now, and I live, so it's funny. I mean, it's now infested areas that never had any kind of price wars. Everything is now a bidding. I was at an inspection Thursday, and it was a house where we actually were under contract, and we did the inspection after. And I said to my inspector, when was the last time you were at a inspection where it was already under contract? I said, I can't remember. It's all pre-inspections here. You only do inspections you can't put in an offer on a house that doesn't have an inspection. It's so rare that happens anymore. Yeah, it's nuts.
I was just talking to a buddy of mine who's a realtor, but also an appraiser up there. And he, you know, he loves real estate, but he's like, dude, there's such a demand for appraisers. Now they're paying over $900. He goes, I could not step back into it because there's just such a demand. I mean, it's just gnarly. So then when you're working with your buyers today in the market that you're in, you know, how are you positioning and having success at getting their offers lower? Not just getting them a property, that's hard enough, but then also getting them that much lower when it comes down to it.
Yeah, well, it's an average. So, I mean, overall, some of the houses we buy over average. It's not everyone doesn't get the discount, but, you know, it doesn't get underneath. But we also are big on education, and we don't take buyers out at price points they can't afford. If someone's limit is 500 and they're shopping in an area that goes for multiple offers, no problem. We're not going to look at anything over 4. Doesn't make sense. Why would we show you a $500,000 house? That's the top of your house. Nothing in that area has gone that way. And then of course, they don't believe us. And then we go out and they spend $600 on inspection and they don't get it. And then we go, told you. And then they go, okay, great. Well, and they move their criteria, right? They move it someplace else, and they go someplace else with it. And you move it out to a less volatile area, and they become happy with that because that's what it is now. That is what it is now. That's the way the market is right now. Nothing you can do about it. And we're just big on education up front. And I tell people, often both on the buy side and the sell side, listen, I am your killjoy. Okay. I am the guy that's going to say no. I'm the guy that has to protect your assets. And so if you're going to go out and try and do this, I'm going to tell you it's a bad idea. And you may think that's a really cool thing for me to say right now, but 3 months from now, when you're still looking and I tell you there's nothing on the market, you're going to hate me. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just tell you the truth. And you do want someone who's going to tell you the truth, don't you? Which is my favorite Diana Kokoska tie down of all time. You do want an agent that's going to tell you the truth, don't you? Sorry, I love that lady. Anyway, that's the deal. So we just educate people. We just tell them what it is, and then we find, then you do your work. You do your legwork. You door knock, and you find off-market properties. So I sold three off-market properties in the last 12 months where, seller, no bidding war, nothing going on. Seller was happy to take maybe less than they would have taken if they were on the open market, but they didn't want the hassle and the risk and all that stuff. And we were happy to pay a little bit more. It was, if you care and you measure it and it's important to you, you'll find a way.
Yeah, love it. So then is there anything else on the buy side, right? In these competitive markets, I mean, when you're in these multiple offer situations, I mean, are you ever do tactics? Like when our market's now starting to soften here in Phoenix, but when it was insane, a year or two ago, we do everything we could to present the offers in person, right, to the seller. And I mean, we've gotten our offers accepted, even though these other offers maybe 3 or 4 higher, because they actually met the buyers and they see them living in their house and see that excitement. I mean, are you doing anything like that too that gives you that advantage edge when they have a dozen offers on a property?
Yeah, you know what? When they have it depends. Again, it's all case specific. It depends. We try and do everything we can do. So we write the love letter, we put the photos in there. I do it as part of the whole PDF with the offer, so they have to print it. When they print the offer, they did not print the letter. Everyone's obviously all the way underwritten, as far as underwriting can go. And I have the lender get on the phone and call the agent. I don't wait for the agent to call the lender. I tell the lender they need to call the agent. I've just submitted an offer for your client, and you need to get on the phone and talk them up, which, again, that's a top of mind phenomenon. If I have 12 offers, the last thing I really want to do as a listing agent is call 12 lenders. The lender that called me, I'm going to remember. So there's that. And then it's educating them about price and terms. If you're going to come in that much over asking, can you make up any low appraisal? And you got to think about all that stuff way ahead of time and make sure that it's all good. And I pray a lot. I don't know if that, but there's really, and if they have met the client, that would be great. I don't usually present in person. I haven't found that that's a major advantage, but I've had people come present to me in person. It doesn't make a big difference to me. They never get to meet the client. I would never have them go present to the client in person. But if the client happened to have met the seller, I always have them talk it up. And you try and find out what's important to the seller. Do they want to rent back? Do they need anything? What do they need? What would make it more attractive? And if the agent tells me it's just price and terms, it's just price and terms. There's nothing you can do. If it really is just price and terms, it's price and terms. So you just keep realistic about it. Keep educating people.
Time out. Joshua Smith here at GSD Studios. I need to take a quick pause to give our sponsors a quick shout out that make all this possible. Our first sponsor is my personal 90-day mastery bootcamp. This is my personal mentorship training program where I give you everything I do inside my business. You get my entire playbook. We have 12 live 3+ hour long sessions. In addition to a ton of different bonus content, you get daily access to me. There's nothing I withhold from you guys inside this program. You get my entire playbook that's helped me sell thousands and thousands and thousands of homes. You get all my tracking forms, presentations, scripts, checklists, team contracts. There's nothing you don't get access to. This is hands down the most effective and affordable real estate training program on the planet. So make sure you check us out at www.90 100daymastery.com. You can check out boot camp dates. You can check out testimonials, more in-depth information. If you decide to register, make sure to enter live mastery, all caps, all one word, all together. That'll save you 500 bones. So you can get the whole entire program for only $997 or 3 payments of $333. Our next sponsor is perfectstormnow.com. Perfectstormnow.com is an insanely effective lead generation website for realtors and now offers a website and CRM combo with all my custom personal follow-up drips inside there, some of which go out 1,000 plus days. We've made it where this is dummy proof, you guys. Any type of a lead generation tactic you can think of, from expireds, FSBO, sign calls, open houses, past clients, everything is in there. It's a plug and play system. And this system really is as powerful, if not more powerful in my opinion. I'm a little biased, but as powerful as the $1,000 a month programs out there, and it's only $199 per month. So again, check us out, www.perfectstormnow.com. Our third sponsor is EMF. Optimized Life Nutrition has created the most powerful nootropic on the planet called EMF. EMF stands for Energy, Memory, Focus. So if you're like me and you want to have insane energy, improved memory, and extreme intense focus, this is the best product money can buy. I take it every single day and the results are insane. I've massively improved energy, memory, focus, mood, awareness, and like you've heard me say in the past, we've had clients that even say it enhances sex. We've had talked to people that have reduced anxiety. The supplement is insane. Check us out. Learn more at www.optimizedlifenutrition.com. Lastly, if you're like myself and our whole entire crew here at GSD Studios and my real estate team, make sure you check out our apparel line, right? We got t-shirts, men's t-shirts, women's t-shirts. We got our hat line that if you're watching this might be available at this point. The hats are in production right now. We're going to be adding a lot of different apparel. So make sure to check that out. And then also, if you're not already, make sure to jump into the GSD Mode Facebook private group. For example, inside there, you guys, we post all of our interviews to make sure that you're not missing out on any interviews. We're going to be doing some votes for future apparel, some Facebook Live stuff. So it's a free private mastermind that you can jump in to go out there, learn, grow, and continue kicking ass and succeeding. All right, that's enough of the interruptions. Let's get back to the show.
Yeah, love it, man. So then with all this stuff going on, right, let's just say you get your listing, you're doing all this marketing, you're doing all these open houses, you're doing the circle prospecting, plus you got to work with your clients and negotiate offers. And so I have to imagine that you're very intentional about your schedule and your planning. And because we see this roller coaster of income for most realtors, because they get busy with clients and they stop doing the things that got them the clients. And kind of, how do you structure your day, man, to make sure that your business is consistent? You're not having that roller coaster.
Well, I am not the best person in the world at that, frankly. And I wish I was better at it. And but I do a bunch of different things that definitely work. Okay. One is, if it's not in my schedule, it doesn't exist. It's just a principle. If I don't have family time in my schedule, I'm not going to see my family. If I don't have lead gen time in my schedule, I don't do lead gen. So it's got to be in my schedule. And then time management overall is really just integrity. Time management is really, are you doing what you said you would do when you said you would do it? And that's a major value on our team. That if I just did an inside sales agent training today, and I was just going over with people, nothing will take you off this team quicker than being late or not showing up or not being reliable with your word or gossiping. And those are the things, if you do and gossiping includes talking to yourself about yourself, like, negative chatter. If you have negative talk, if you're a Debbie Downer, you are not going to be on this team. You have to be a conversation for possibility. You have to keep your word. It's just what there is to do on this team. So that's a big piece of it. And then if you're going to start there, if it's in my schedule, I'm going to do it. If it's not my schedule, I'm not going to do it. Then you wind up with, all right, my business, I had very little business in January, February, and March. It was just, I got back from Christmas vacation or whatever. It was just terrible. Like, cash died. And I just cranked up the engine again, and I got, all right, clear the deck. I'm doing, I absolutely am doing 3 hours of lead gen every day and cranked it back up. And now I've got so much business that I got to figure out how to get it all in, which is really what you're talking about, right? So I'm right there at that crux. You know, I just had 3 weeks of a listing a week, bam, 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 and all that stuff is happening. I got 4 buyers from those listings and they're all moving around and all that stuff's happening. So I've got to now reorganize my schedule. But as long as I do it in communication with my team and I'm not reacting to it. I'm not taking it day by day. I'm not just like, oh, shoot, I don't have time now. Oh, damn it. I got to go do that. No, I look out my week and okay, I'm moving my lead gen. So I'm going to do my 200 dials on Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursday. I'm doing 200 dials each of those days, or 250 dials. So I get my 500 dials in a week. I'll do them on Tuesday and Thursday. And that leaves me Monday, Wednesday, Friday for follow-up and prep, and Saturday, Sunday, and the evenings for listing appointments. That looks like it'll work for the next 3 months. And that's what I'm going to do. And then if I need to adjust, I think that's the other thing big. I hadn't really talked about it out loud till just now, is you got to stay flexible. I mean, one hand, you're going to do what's in your calendar and you're not willing to give up the watering the tree, which is what you're talking about, right? The tree starts to bear fruit. Everyone goes to pick a fruit, stops watering the tree. You can't stop watering the tree, but you can move the watering schedule around to work. And you got to stay a little bit flexible about that. Don't be like some, soup Nazi about it. No, I only do it now. I cannot do it. No, it doesn't quite work like that. You got to, okay, I'm not doing 8 to 10 today. I'm doing 9 to 11, but you're going to have the discipline to sit down at 9 to 11 and do it. So it's a little bit of flexibility helps.
Yep, love it. Yeah, I mean, it becomes kind of like a boxing match, right? You got to roll those punches, and it's just how it goes. But overall, the consistency still can happen. And so when it comes to your 500 dials a week, like I found everybody, of course, differs. What's in the marketplace? The marketplace differs on people's skill sets and whatever, but. We found on my team, so if we do 500 dials, that's going to equate to those 20 conversations that are to a client, right?
Right.
When you break down those numbers, I mean, why 500 dials? I mean, is that like what does that lead to? And I love that you've broken it down to that key indicator of, hey, if I know dial, I'd have this dials, and I'm sure you know how many conversations, how many appointments set to clients to sales. What does that equate to for you?
Yeah, that 500 dials turns into. It turns into at least 1 to 2 appointments a week. And that's what I can manage it down to. And then I probably get 12 nurtures a week out of that. People that aren't ready to do anything, meet with me, which is fine because those nurtures all turn into business at some point. Like I said, I'm going to be in business next year. And if I can have, 50 nurtures a month, that's 600. I'll have 600 leads for next year. I'll take that. I'll definitely take that. So that's 1 or 2 appointments a week. And those 1 or 2 appointments turn into, at least a listing, right? Somewhere down the pipeline. If they're not ready to list right now, somewhere that's going to turn into a listing. And more than, and in addition to that, I don't know that more than that's the right phrase, but in addition to that, the other thing it does, and this is woo-woo, okay? That other thing wasn't woo-woo. This is woo-woo. It presses out into the universe that work's happening here, that I am not a leaf in the wind, that I am actually having the business go the way I say, and that there's something productive and of value happening. So whether I produce the appointment this week or not, fine. I'm not going to bust my ass. You know what I mean? The thing I can manage is the dials. I can't manage if they pick up. I can't manage if they'll talk to me. I can't manage if they want to do something. I can manage that I make that phone ring 100 times or whatever, right? And I don't have to get done and I know how long that takes me. I can make a phone ring 100 times with the Mojo dialer in about an hour. I love that. And I think that's almost the most important piece there too, is that I love it. You don't love the Mojo dialer? Don't do that. What do you love? Do you love open houses? Do you love door knocking? Do you love networking? I mean, if you don't love any of it, get out of the business, right? Don't do it. And it's not that I love lead gen, like, I can't wait to get on the phone. But of all the lead gen things I can do, it's like going to the gym. When I'm done with it, I'm like, I can start my day with integrity. I can start my day happy because I did my freaking dials. That is done. You know, like how you feel when you're showering after the gym. You're like, yeah, bring it. Whatever's next is next. If I do my dials, I'm great. If without it, I'm like, oh, worried and concerned and bad headspace.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when going to the gym and just same thing, but it's like, yeah, I never want to go, but I never regret it once I've done it.
Exactly right. That's how lead gen is for me. And find whatever your expression of that is and do that stuff and do it well. Master that, whatever it is. That's the thing about real estate. It doesn't matter. You can do whichever one you want. They're all good. They all work. People want to buy houses. People want to sell houses. That's not a question.
Yeah. So then I'm assuming with your lead generation, because when you're talking about those dials, equates to nurture. And then of course with your Mojo dialer, which, you know, I have 2 Mojo accounts. I mean, I love Mojo as well. We use the hell out of it in our business. I'm assuming, I mean, are you, when I shouldn't say assuming here, but are you attacking straight circle prospecting with this, expireds, FSBOs, combination of all 3? Because I can imagine in the market you have a ton of FSBOs and expireds. Maybe there is, I don't know.
Well, no, we don't get a ton of expires, but we certainly get a ton of FSBOs. And because everyone thinks they can sell it themselves. You know, the deal I was telling you about, I'm waiting to come back, is the guy, I sold his house. He was a FSBO. I sold his house for more than he was going to, he netted more than he was asking for it as a FSBO. And now I'm helping him buy that was a $600,000 sale, $650,000. And now we're helping him buy a 7. So I don't need a lot of those, you know what I mean? Like, we get paid so freaking well, right? It's totally worth the call. So I do FSBOs, I do expireds, I do circles. I don't really enjoy circle prospecting, but I have my ISAs doing circle prospecting, and I do my, I load up. So I use a company called Viral Marketing. I don't know if you know them.
Yep.
They do educational video newsletters, right? So twice a month, I get an educational video that goes out, value, just drop science on people. And then I get a report of who opened the email. And I upload those into Mojo, and I call all those people after. So every other week, I'm calling through my warmed database, anyone who already top of mind. And all I say is, hey, man, I know you subscribe to my videos. Do you have any questions I can ask? I'm always out to look for more questions I can answer on those videos. What do you got? And by the way, do you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell? I'm building my book of business for this year. Who do you know? So I call anyone who's opened my newsletter, and every lead I get gets on that newsletter. If I get your email address, you're getting that newsletter. It's just happening. You're just going to get it. And if you open it, I'm going to call you. And so those are the things I use Mojo for.
Yeah. So I know our listeners will kill me if I don't ask. Can you walk us through kind of just a quick sample script that you're using with your FSBOs and expireds?
Sure. Yeah, easy. I stole this from a guy named Aaron Wittenstein, who runs a Facebook page, Lead Gen Scripts and Objections, and just fabulous. I just love this script. And it's, hey, this is Aaron Hendon with local realtor. And I don't say Keller Williams, because if it was a Keller Williams agent that didn't sell their house, I'm out.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care at all who I'm with. This is Aaron. I'm a local realtor. Listen, I saw your house is no longer listed for sale. Can I ask you a question? How in the world did that house not sell? And you just shut up. And then they talk. And you talk, and they talk, and then you go, well, listen, I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm happy, whatever. Then it's just a question of, over there in their world, what do they need? You know, sometimes they're angry. I would be angry too, man. If someone couldn't sell my house in the lowest inventory in 15 years, I would be pissed off too. Listen, my team specializes in selling houses that didn't sell the first time, and we have never had a house that didn't sell. So you got 15 minutes where I can come by and meet you, and we can talk about what it would take to get it sold for the price you want. Whatever. So some close there, but the opening line is the key, right? And the same thing with the FSBOs. I buy aged FSBOs off of Mojo. They sell you, last 30 days worth of FSBOs. You call those, they've been on the market for, how in the world did that house not sell? Because Mojo's got the little Zillow thing. So you click on the Zillow thing, you see the house, you're looking at the house. How in the world did this not sell? I could sell this thing all day long for 2 times on Thursday. What do you got? I promise you, I can get you more. If I get you more in your pocket than you're trying to avoid by not hiring a realtor, can we talk?
Yeah.
It's something really, I'm always really, I don't do any of that. I don't do anything that doesn't feel right. You know, I don't do anything that doesn't feel like me. And I don't think anyone can do anything that doesn't feel like them. I think you'd be better off going, wow, hey, you know, I'm really sorry that I'm bothering you. Oh, who did I just hear? Some great script. Oh, it was on the Greg McDaniels podcast, the Real Estate Uncensored. Great, also very funny guy. But some guy coach was on that show, and they were talking about the script. I haven't tried it yet, but I think it's brilliant. He drives by the expires, drives up, mealtime, dinner time, gets out of the car, leaves the door open, leaves the car running, where they can see it when they open the door for him. He knocks on the door and goes, listen, I'm really sorry to bother you at dinner time. I just wanted you to know I saw your house wasn't listed for sale anymore. I specialize in houses that didn't sell the first time. Here's my card. Call me. And he leaves. And the car's running in the driveway, so they know he's not staying. It's so it's so fantastic. Like, how does that not, you know, that's like, I love that script. So find a script you love. Get on I listen to your podcast. I listen to that. I listen to everything. The best app a realtor can get is the iPhone, whatever, the podcast app. Listen to all of it. Suck it up.
Yeah. Well, and then the thing too is, you know, if you get the 100, let's just say, top expired scripts, you know, agents out there of as far as that is their main source of lead gen, they all probably say something different, you know, right? But the one commonality they have is consistency, you know, right? They're just consistently doing it, and I found, I mean, where the consistency comes in powers, it's not even so much what you say, it's the confidence you say it in, and
100%.
It's an energy. So
yeah, I heard a great thing just recently in a class. It was like the most confident and most excited listing agent gets the listing. Yeah. And I think that's it. You're excited. And that's the great, and really, I really do just have to acknowledge you for this podcast in particular, Josh, is that you are just excited. You're just like excited. It is great to listen to someone who's excited. It's like, you get up for it. You're like, yeah, I want to be with that person. And I think 90%, I promise you, if you looked at 90% of the people that fail, they're hangdog. They're like,
Yep. People feed off energy, man. 100%, brother. So, you know, I know that you do so much educating the consumer with, again, the right questions to ask their agent. How much do you incorporate that into your marketing that you do? And and if you do you find it to be effective?
Yeah, I always leave someone with a copy of my book, the Don't Get Fooled Again, the 7 questions you must ask to avoid hiring the wrong real estate agent, so that they have that. I wrote it because it's a book, you know, and you can leave it with people. And now I'm actually writing a separate book that's a more substantial book because I get off on that kind of stuff. But I think it's very effective. We have over half our business, 62% last year was referral. And, I only want to work with people that want to be educated. I only want to work with people that want to use me as a resource. I don't want to work with people that know it all, that want to tell me how to do it. I mean, I'm all ears. I have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, but I want someone who wants to be educated, someone who's willing to admit, well, I don't know everything. What can I learn? And then we work in a partnership together. So I only want to work with people that want to work in a partnership. So I think I think it's everyone's got to decide who they want to work with. Everyone's not a good fit for everyone. So I don't have, can you tell people who you don't want to work with? I don't want to work with people that think they know, that they think Zillow makes them a realtor, like they think WebMD makes them a doctor. You're knock yourself out. I bet there's people that want to work with you. It's not going to be me. Yeah.
Love it, man. So, when it comes, because you're on a team, right? And we have a lot of team leaders that listen to this podcast. And, a lot of times we talk to the team leaders, but we don't talk to other team members that are part of a successful team that are excited to be on that team. What advice would you have for team leaders that are watching this, that your team does well, that makes you love being a part of that team, that it would be important for them to kind of create that same experience and culture? And, because a lot of teams, it's just a revolving door, like with their agents. And like, what are some of the attributes that make such an amazing culture for you to be a part of your team?
I think the authenticity and the honesty straight up at the beginning. First of all, we're super generous with the split. So the team is, we know what the general splits are. We use better splits than general splits. And I'm sure that varies from market to market. So whatever ours is, it doesn't matter. But we want to make sure that we're paying people the best. And the other thing is when people come on the team, we really do make sure I'm straight with people. Like, look, this is another hand in your pocket. Do you understand? If you're going to look at this like it's hands in your pocket, team's not going to be good for you. Don't be on a team if you look at paying your team leader as a hand in your pocket. Part of what would make being on a team work is you've got to do enough business to make being on a team work. If you're going to do 3 pieces of business a year, you really don't need to be on a team. You shouldn't be on a team. You should be on your own. But if you're ready to do 20, 30, 40 pieces of business a year, I don't even get how you pretend to not want to be on a team. I don't even get where the advantage of not being on a team is. I mean, yeah, you get a bigger slice of the pie, but you're going to get so much less pie, it's stupid. All my marketing's paid for, my transaction coordinator is paid for. That's not a split. What do you call that? Offshoring. I'm outsourcing. I'm outsourcing all the shit that I hate to do. I don't want to do any of that. All I want to do is talk to people. I don't want to pay for my Mojo dialer and handle all that. She pays for all that. I don't pay for my lead. She pays for all that. I don't pay for any of that stuff. I just sit there and dial, man. That's awesome. I come to work in an office I didn't pay for. I do a contract. I send it to the transaction coordinator. She handles all. I say, hey, Britta, when's the appraisal coming in? And boom, she goes to find out when the appraisal's coming in. I'm not messing with any of that stuff. I have someone that handles scheduling the photographer for me. I have someone that schedules the landscaper and the cleaning. I don't do any of that. I don't spend any time on that. I can't even imagine where I would have time to do that. I'm happy to give my split. I'm happy to pay someone else to handle that. Why? Because it puts me up in the position to do an extra 20 pieces of business, plus all the business that I wasn't going to get if I wasn't on the team. Because starting out as a new agent, I couldn't with integrity go talk to someone about what a good job I was going to do because I wasn't going to do a good job. I wouldn't know what I was doing. And we're also, the last piece of that for a team leader is you got to be clear, I think, and we are very clear on this team that my job as a person on the team is to make it my team leader's problem to keep me. I want to start getting so much of my own business that she then has to say to me, all right, here, I'm going to give you more. Or you give me less, however you want to work at that. Because you're getting so much more business than I'm giving you that if you left, it'd be a problem for me. My job is to have it be her problem. And, frankly, after 4 years, after this year, it's for sure going to be her problem, without a doubt. I'm going to work something else out because now I don't know how much, I don't, like I said, my contribution to the team, however you want to work at that, pays for a ridiculous amount of stuff. But if your team, if the people on your team aren't producing, they don't need it. And that's the other thing to be straight about. You got to empower them to do that much business.
Yeah, love it. So it sounds like from, the recommendations, advice that you just gave is like where it's made or broken is really in that recruitment education process.
Isn't everything in the setup?
Yeah.
A rocket ship is off 1 degree at launch. It never gets to the moon. It's at the launch. It's always in the beginning. Pricing with the client, house sells based on the expectations that were set at the listing agreement, at the signing. It's all in the beginning. It's all in the setup. You do, the Abraham Lincoln thing. Like if I had 2 hours to cut down a tree, I'd spend an hour and a half sharpening my axe. Like it's all that space. Yeah.
Love it, man. So then, I know that you're also doing, speaking and, I'm sure with your landmark days, right. That's, and I don't know if it was from Landmark or it's always been in your blood, but, what's led you to some of these other spaces that you now are involved in?
Well, a lot of it really is, it's not in my blood. My blood is New York blood. And as a New Yorker, I don't like people. I don't want to talk to people and everyone's in my way and get the fuck out of my way, go sit down and talk. I hate, like that. So it really is from this commitment to contribute and make a difference. And, and then I just sort of got into it. I really basically wrote this book to be a lead magnet. And I wrote the book because I could not understand for the life of me why in every listing appointment I went to, not one person ever asked me how much over average I sold houses for. Like, I can't believe, I was like, the one thing you want as a seller is the most money in the least time. Why are you not asking me? Why don't you ask anyone? You're going to hire. So I wrote this book to sort of get into it. And then as I really got into it, I was like, wow, there really is a whole psychology here of a mental blind spot will have around real estate, you know, and it's, I could talk easily for another hour about this. I'm very much holding myself back about it, but if anyone's interested, right, they can get on my mailing list. And when my book is published, I'm giving out free copies to everyone on my mailing list. So I'm happy to get that from yourselves. You can put the link in the thing, but in the notes. But I just sort of got fascinated with people, you know, like, really, I don't think they know they're doing this, you know, but Josh, they pick the realtor they're going to use to sell their $1 million house or whatever, 700, 200, whatever price the house is. They use the same methodology to choose the person to represent them in that they use to choose where to eat dinner. You know, they go to Yelp to see the stars about dinner. They go to Zillow to see the stars about the realtor. They ask their best friend, hey, where's a good Chinese restaurant? They ask their best friend, who's a good realtor? They happen to run into a place when they're hungry. They happen to bump into a guy at the open house. It's literally the exact same methodology for something that's going to cost them $15 that they're going to do 30,000 times in their life to something that costs them $500,000 they're going to do 3 times in their life. They don't know they're doing that. They can't know they're doing that. It's got to be happening on some level that's not conscious. And if it gets conscious, I would love them to stop doing that. Why? Not because they'll hire me, but because they'll stop being stupid about it. Yeah. You know, you've been, and I have been on the other side of a table with another realtor, and you have thought to yourself, I promise you've thought to yourself, oh my God, this guy is getting paid the same amount I am. I cannot believe this guy's getting paid the same amount I am. This guy is such an idiot. There's no way this person is serving their client. I know you have. And that's the heart of discount brokerage right there. Because why would an agent offer a discount if they could get full price? They wouldn't. No one would. So that's the heart of the whole thing for me, is that it's all in the consumer in my eyes. In my eyes, this is on the consumer. Agents don't know their statistics because they're not asked their statistics. They're trained to be there first and be friendly. And if you're there first and you're friendly, you'll get the business. And that's lead gen. That's all that other stuff that we already talked about. You be there first and they're friendly, you'll get enough business to do it because people don't care, right? And I've taken on like a mission to sort of alter the paradigm of real estate like that. So I'm writing these books and speaking about it. And that's how I got to you on this podcast. And I don't know, I need a dragon to slay, you know? I can't sell houses. I need to slay a dragon. It's always been my life mission, like this, pick a dragon, and I got one now, so.
Yeah, I love it, man. So I know you got the new book coming out. I mean, when do you anticipate it coming out? And then also, though, with the current lead magnet that uses a marketing standpoint, I mean, I would sit there and think that it'd be critical for every realtor to go out there and get a copy of that book too, in addition to your new book that's coming out, because again, they may not be in the consumer seat, but they know that now. Let me reverse engineer my my listing presentation and all of that.
Yeah, I think it's great. They can pick that book up for free. Don't Get Fooled Again, book.com. And that would put them on my mailing list. And then when the new book comes out, everyone, which should be midsummer, everyone there, because I want a lot of feedback and reviews and stuff before I hit the mainstream market. And I would like people that are warm leads. Realtors are great for me in this, like people that can give me honest feedback, because if it's not clear, I prefer honesty. I prefer talking straight. So anyone has feedback for me about it, I'd love it.
Yeah, love it, man. Love it. And those watching, listening, I don't care where you're at, we'll have a link below to Aaron's website where you can go do that right away. And I know the second I hang up on this podcast, I am. So I highly recommend that you guys do as well. So, dude, I mean, you just said it, right, man? I gotta have a dragon to slay. You're this very driven guy. what keeps you in life leveling up and not just, I mean, so many just accept good enough. You know, what keeps you personally leveling up?
Um, I don't know. I think that it's been, you get a taste of it. You get a taste of leveling up and you can't stop. That's what it is for me. It wasn't always like this. I was, stoner artist, fine, mellow, don't talk to me for many, many, many years of my life, too many that I'm now 54 with 2 kids. I'm like, I better freaking level up quick here, man. These kids are going to be, you're going to need stuff and I'm going to need to retire at some point. I'm not dyeing this white, this isn't bleached. And, so that's a big part of it too. And, I don't know. I just think the other part of it is, who wants to play a game they can win? I mean, what's the fun of that? I'll play my kid in chess and I'll beat him every time. How is that fun? That's not fun. You want to play a game you can't win and then win. And then the next thing to do is, all right, well, I won that. Good. What's next? What's the next game? So, spoiler alert, right? I mean, we all wind up dead. That's the way this story ends, is we're all going to wind up dead. It's what's going to happen between here and that. We know the end. The rest of it's not written. How far can you go, man? What else is there? I don't know. That's sort of what keeps me going.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. Powerful stuff. So, knowing everything that you know now in the real estate space, if you could go back to the day that you just got licensed and give yourself 2 pieces of advice that you feel would really help you catapult your business to the next level, what would that look like?
Well, one would be don't wait 6 months, because I got licensed and then waited 6 months. My advice to myself at that time would be quit your day job now. And get into it, right? Get on that team and start doing the work. And I think that would be it. It would be start now and do the work, do all in fact, even before you get licensed, one of the great things, I mean, this is something else that we're doing on our team. We just started doing this. I'm so excited. We just brought on 5 ISAs, inside sales agents, that I'm training. We now have 5 seats on the power dialer and they're doing circle prospecting and I'm training them and they're dynamite. It's awesome. And all the nurtures that they get, go on our drip campaigns, but they're staying in a book of business for them. And all these guys are going to get licensed in the next year. And they're doing like 15, 20 nurtures a week. That means in a year, they're going to have, whatever that is, 500, 600 leads when they get licensed. I would tell myself before I even got licensed, start being an ISA for a realtor. Start smiling and dialing. Get the hard stuff out of the way. Break those muscles up, get sore, get all that. Learn the scripts, do all that stuff, then get licensed. Then you got business, because you could be an ISA for 3 hours a day and kill it. Work your day job, get home at 5, phone from 6 to 8, do 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, 10 hours of ISAing's got to pay you, whatever it is. And we pay ours 5% a deal. So it's, it's got to pay you. And you get all that practice, man. You'll get all these leads, right? But you got to find a realtor that's willing to do it. So for your team leaders, that's a decent model to start expanding your team. Again, it's a long range plan. It's not going to pay off right now. That's a lot of work up front, but you're going to be in business in a year. You're going to have a team in a year. You want 5 new on fire agents to train with 500 leads each that they generated. That's a no-brainer right there for a plan for 2018.
Yeah, it's powerful, man. So have you guys experimented on your team? Because I'm doing this right now. I've got a full-time in-house ISA, and then we just hired 2 virtual ISAs. It's the first time I've really outsourced anything virtually. Have you tried that model before? You just had your in-house?
We did. We hated it. Didn't get it to work. People do. People get it to work. If you do, great. We just couldn't get it to work. We couldn't get it reliable enough. They weren't producing anything. We needed our hands on it. I literally today, just before this call, I had them in the office for a pizza lunch where I went over training stuff, and we run our own script practice in the mornings, and there are people, they know our story. It's important for us. We were voted best of Seattle 5 years in a row. So I want them to know that. In the virtual ISAs that we've used, never get the story right. Doesn't quite mesh. So, but people do it. So I'm not poo-pooing the model. I'm just saying it didn't work for us.
Yep. I love it, man. So then, and again, I know people will kill me if I don't ask or listen to this right now. So you mentioned you pay them 5%. Is there, some type of a small salary with that? Or just straight?
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to work for. We think this is going to work fine, but they get $100 an appointment. So if it's a real appointment, like they're going to buy or sell in the next 90 days, and we go on it, they get $100. And every deal that closes, they get 5% off the top. Right. So that roughly works out. If you work a 30-hour week, when you run the numbers, that should be $6,000-$7,000 a month.
Yeah.
Which is decent for 30 hours sitting on your ass on the phone, right? It's not bad. You could do that, and if you do it from the mindset of the ones that don't close, you're going to wind up getting 50% down the road when you become an agent next year. And you've already, come on, man, that 90% that fail as realtors, that 10%, you want to be in that 10%, get your phoning down, man. Do your work, right? Because even if you don't want to do phoning later, no problem. You got the skill, you got the muscle. You can talk to strangers. You can have people yell at you for being on the phone, all the stuff that ISAs deal with, like nasty people. People are nasty.
Yeah.
Why are you calling me?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then the cool thing is with you knowing your numbers and also training them. You mentioned earlier, okay, $500 is going to be your 2 appointments. There's no reason the ISA can't do $500 a day.
No,
right?
Nothing, man.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So
totally.
2 appointments.
There's no way they don't get 2 appointments a week each. And 2 appointments a week each is $200. And one of those appointments turns into a listing. And one of those, that's 4 listings a month at our average price point. That's, the whole deal, man. It's just easy.
Yep. Yeah, brother. Love it, man. So, I created this podcast about 2 years ago. I wanted to go out there and just give back to an industry that's changed my life. And I know it's changed your life. And I also did it on a very selfish standpoint of, man, this is my self-development, man. I get to interview brilliant brains like yours every day, right? So it becomes so massive for myself as well. So, with that being said, those that are listening and watching this are here because they want to go out there and create amazing epic lives for themselves and their families. So with that being said, do you have any last words of advice, inspiration, or anything that you'd like to leave them with so they can do exactly
that? Yeah, I think that just the fact, frankly, that they're listening to this podcast, right? That they are people that are out there getting some. They're educating themselves. No one listens to this podcast because they're committed to sitting on their ass. You're just not. These are people that are committed and up to something, that are already playing the game like you talked about leveling up. So you already are in that, right? And then it's the question of, fine, get yourself a coach that's going to point out your blind spots and do what the coach says. You're not going to get this on your own. There has never been any champion that ever got it on their own. No one does it in the history of mankind. Nobody has done this by themselves. No one has won a gold medal without a coach. No one has won the Super Bowl without the coach. Nobody does it without a coach. It's human beings operate. So be responsible for that. Get a coach. Find someone who's going to tell you what to do, and then do it. Do it until you use that coach up, and then go get a better coach, and then use that coach up and get a better coach. That's my mission, is have people be consistent with the way the human being is designed, right? And that's, that's why I participate in Landmark. That's why I do anything I do is so that someone else can tell me what I can't see and give me some way of operating that I wouldn't operate otherwise. And then let's go see how that works out.
Yeah, love it. Powerful words, man. Awesome stuff. So those watching and listening, I know I never podcast with this, you guys, but information without implementation truly is just the start of delusion. Information is no longer power. It's taking massive action on that information that creates power inside your world. So Aaron shared so many pieces of just amazing advice with you. Take something that you learn, take immediate action on it. And again, there'll be links right below to Aaron's website, so you can go download his book, get on his list, so you can get his new book. Make sure to take action on that immediately as well. And again, as always, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Aaron, man, I truly appreciate you taking time in a busy beer, man. This has been epic, brother.
Oh, man, I just cannot even thank you enough, both for the opportunity to be on your show, but also really the work that you're doing with people, because we're very much simpatico on what we're out to accomplish in the world. So I really appreciate you, podcast, what you're up to, man. Thank you very much for the contribution.
Yeah, it truly means a lot, man. All right, you guys. Well, thank you again, and we will see you next time.
All right, peeps, that wraps up today's show. Again, thank you so much for watching the show. I truly appreciate just a few quick reminders and favors that I need from you. Number one, please share the show. Anyone you feel can benefit from this show. This truly helps us grow the show, continue going out there and having impacts on many, many lives. So it'd mean the world to me if you went out there and shared the show. Number two, if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, please go out there on iTunes, Stitcher, leave us a 5-star positive review. All that stuff helps for awareness of the show. Also, make sure to join the GSD Mode private Facebook mastermind group. If you haven't already, you can go to gsdmode.com. Right on the front page, there's a link there. Click that. We'll get you added right away. A lot of cool stuff in there, a lot of masterminds. We're bringing a lot of Facebook Live, different stuff in there they have access to that you can't get anywhere else. And lastly, I want to give our sponsors a quick shout out that make this show possible. So our first sponsor is my personal 90-day mastery bootcamp. This is my personal mentorship training program where I give you everything that I do inside my business, right? You get my entire playbook. We have 12 live, 3+ hour long training sessions. You get daily access to me inside the program. There's a bunch of bonus training sessions. You get access to every single thing that I do inside my business. All my tracking forms, all my presentations, checklists, lead generation tactics, lead follow-up tactics, team contracts, and so much more, you guys. There's nothing that compares to this program. You get full access to everything that I do inside my company. I hold nothing back. Go check us out, www.90daymastery.com, where you can learn more information, see future dates, see testimonials, all that fun shite. If you decide to join, make sure to plug in Live Mastery inside the promo code, all one word, all together, all caps. That'll save you 500 bones on the program, so you get it for only $997, which is a freaking steal, or 3 payments of $333. Our next sponsor is PerfectStormNow.com. So PerfectStormNow.com is an insanely effective lead generation website for realtors, and now offers a website and CRM combo with all my custom personal follow-up drips, all of my scripts that are inside there, right? So there's no guesswork. And when a lead comes in, based on the lead source, you're gonna know exactly what to say, when to say, how to say. All of it's just auto-filled, and we made it where it's dummy-proof. I mean, this system is as powerful, if not more powerful, in my opinion, than the $1,000 plus monthly websites, and it's only $199 a month. So go to PerfectStormNow.com. You can check out in-depth demos, see more testimonials, learn more information on it, all that cool jazz. Our last sponsor is EMF. So Optimized Life Nutrition has created the most powerful nootropic on the planet called EMF, Energy, Memory, Focus. So if you're like me and you want insane energy, improved memory, an extremely intense focus, this is the best product that money can buy, you guys. I personally take it every single day before I do webinars, before I do things like this, man. I'm always taking this product to go out there and enhance, again, my focus, my intensity, my memory, every aspect of it. So go out there and check right now on www.optimizedlifenutrition.com, where you can learn more about EMF. Lastly, you guys, if you want to be like me and the rest of the GSD crew, as well as my real estate team and so many others that listen to this, listen to the show and support the show, make sure you're rocking this GSD Mode gear, man. We want to go out there and spread the love, spread the word, spread the GSD Mode name. So on the site, gsdmode.com, we have men's shirts, women's shirts. We're starting to run a lot new apparel through the site, so you see a lot more coming as well. So make sure to go check out the site, pick that up, have some fun. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.